Podcast Network Asia.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
I said give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Veda Zane.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Spoker. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the star, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romaran, and Emile ASH on another audio-only episode. It's our Picks of the Week joint. And you know what we do by this point, diba? We used to do this part at the end of the live stream. So now we've got a fully fleshed out episode for the highlights of the week in wrestling. And there's a lot of wrestling to talk about as always. And it's not going to stop anytime soon because we are on the road to WrestleMania. And with that comes a lot of fun stuff that you, the Wrestling Podcast listener, get to be a part of, especially if you are one of the members of our growing and vibrant and raucous Wrestling Podcast patron community.
All right, so before WrestleMania, we have AEW Revolution pay-per-view this month, and it's coming this weekend. So we will have our watch party, and if you want to join the watch party and enjoy the other perks of being a Patreon subscriber, you can join and support the podcast by subscribing to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast. Again, other perks of subscribing to our Patreon aside from the watch parties. You could also join our Discord community where we talk about everything and anything under the sun. Of course, we talk about wrestling, but we also talk about other stuff like gaming, fashion, food, memes, just topics in general that you could talk to us about in our Discord community. And another perk is our pasabays, which in fact we will have our next one during WrestleMania season. So malapit na yan. So if you want to buy your WWE or AEW or any other wrestling merch, pwede ka magpasabay when you join our Patreon. And lastly, we have the exclusive review content from the weekly wrestling shows like Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, and some local wrestling events as well. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you are supporting the podcast and everything that we do. So I just want to repeat, our Patreon link is patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast. The cost of it, I forgot to say, it's only as low as $5, or in our local currency, it's around 260 to 270 pesos.
Okay na sana nagpahalata ka na nakalimutan mo yung costing eh.
It's alright. It's all good though. It's all good.
You're getting there. Getting there. Huwag ka lang pahalata na nakakalimutan mo kundi maalala namin. Diba?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our picks of the week. As always, if you want to be part of the conversation, you know what to do, right? Hit us up at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok with your own picks of the week. Let's start with you, Young Buck. Emile ASH, what is your pick of the week?
All right, so my pick of the week is from the Noah event last week for during the Keiji Muto's grand final. Last Love, that is the title of the show, happened last week, Tuesday last week, and it's a match between Kaito, Kiyomiya, and Kazuchika Okada. So this is actually my first time watching a Noah show, and I just want to say I love the set that they had at the Tokyo Dome, much better than what NJPW did during Wrestle Kingdom. I just want to say, and and this match, for those who doesn't know the context behind this match, the build-up of this match started during, I think, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, where Kiyomiya made a statement during a tag match by kicking Okada in the face, which led to Okada going berserk and throwing some legit shoot punches or kicks towards Kiyomiya. Like, all of it felt real that they stopped the match afterwards. Of course, it's all a work. All of it was a work, looking back at it. And the one observation I had, like, from the beginning of the match is Kiyomiya really looks like and reminds me of a younger Okada. And there's a present versus future vibes in this match, which was perfect for the theme of the show, for the theme of the entire event. And this was a great match. I love how Okada was a big time douchebag during the match and throughout the build up of the match. And I also love how he kept on dismissing Kiyomiya like in the build up towards the match, and he's dismissing him in the match itself. It is very reminiscent for me of Tanahashi undermining Okada when it was Okada who's the young and upcoming rising star 10 years ago when he first introduced the Rainmaker persona. So ganun din yung attitude ni Tanahashi towards Okada with Kiyomiya. So parang perfect cycle or something. And let's talk about the match itself. The match itself was really good. I would recommend this to anyone who hasn't seen Kiyomiya wrestle. Again, this is the first time that I've seen a Kiyomiya match. And he went toe-to-toe and held his own against the Ace. And that last sequence, though, when Okada hit Kaito with a Rainmaker and then pulled him after the 2 count and did another Rainmaker.
That was fun.
that was like that was a mega star move, mega douche heel move by Okada. And I wish we could see more of this in NJPW. Like he hasn't shown the edge that he showed throughout the build up and during this match in NJPW in the last 5 years. So I if there's anything I want after this match, I want that Okada more in NJPW. But nonetheless, it was a great match. Great showcase between two of the best Japanese wrestlers in the world right now.
It's amazing that you bring up megastar heel Okada. It's been a while since we last saw him. I don't really know why. He's kind of defaulted to being like a younger Tanahashi for New Japan, but basically filling the same role that Tanahashi has always had. As the ace of New Japan. So it's great that you brought that up because it also made me think it's been too long since we've had that version of the Rainmaker.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't know why you say that he is the super mega douche heel. Remember, he was the one who got hit first with pretty stiff strike to the mouth, but to the head. So when you remember that, you know that he's kind of justified in trying to tame the young buck. Interesting thing though, you mentioned that the whole thing was a work. Is at the time when they started stiffing each other and shooting on each other, we thought it was a shoot, or at least we couldn't figure out ano talaga siya. And now that we had all of this, now everything has happened. It's clear now that it seems Noah was the one who booked the entire thing. Like, it doesn't seem like NJPW had too much of a creative hand in this. I think the only terms of the deal, looking from the outside in, is that Okada has to win because Okada is still the big champion, but he's still the top champion in Japan, if not number 2 in the world. It's not a good idea to have him lose to Kiyomiya here. So, really interesting thing. It really shook up yung the way they tell stories in Japan. Like, New Japan has been kind of a holding pattern for the way they've been doing things. And this one is kind of a breath of fresh air, to the point that I'm actually glad that they started out hot. Nowadays, because Okada matches are kind of like formal, polite affairs, even with I don't think he's had really hot nemesis in quite a while until this. Like, no one has really disrespected him like Kiyomiya did last month, February pa lang yan. I really appreciated that. It was a nice change of pace. It was a sprint, then a marathon. There were very little slow points in the match. They really just went at it. That's the kind of thing I like to see. So yung mga bugbugan, sapakan talaga. And they delivered on this one. I was pleasantly surprised because I didn't see any clip or snippet of this match leading up to my watching of it, rather. So it was really, really great. Hands down. I've seen Kiyomiya before, but I never really had a chance to appraise him. So this guy is one to watch. This kid is one to watch.
All right. So that's Emile's pick. We're going to go to Rowan's, and we're going to stay outside of WWE for this one. It was the All-Atlantic Championship match from Dynamite this past Thursday, Manila time, between defending champion Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta. And sabi ni Rowan, ito raw yung type of match na papagurin ka talaga in the best way, so it'll actually get you to sleep peacefully. And I wish I were at a point where I could feel this type of emotion again. Yung tipong sa gabi mo siya papanoorin, and then you'll actually get all hyped up, and then you can go to sleep peacefully. Because with wrestling being on the other side of the world for the most part, we don't really get to have that benefit, diba? Na parang, oh yeah, I'm so hyped from wrestling. Oh, okay, tulog na. Usually I have like a day of whatever.
I don't even know how that works. Like, what?
I mean, like if you lived in the States, diba, you're watching wrestling in the evening, and then you're all hyped up, you get a great match.
Ka.
Yeah, mapapagod ka, then sakto, gabi na, you go to bed, right?
Right, okay, gotcha.
That doesn't happen for us here in the Philippines,
yeah.
Diba?
No, it kind of does for me because I watch most things at night. Like, I don't watch live anymore. I don't have AEW Plus right now, so I don't have the luxury of spending time watching a live broadcast. So I kind of get where this is going or where he went with it. But yeah, I agree too.
Yeah. So going into the match, the big story here was how Wheeler Yuta used to be a member of Best Friends. And then there is that history of in-ring face-offs between Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta. And now the current versions of themselves where they're both singles champions are meeting in 2023. And sobrang natuwa si Rowan with how everything just came together. For example, the struggle that each had when they were applying a submission, and then they were countering one another, which again was a reference to their history, was a nice touch. And the finish, as Rowan says, is something that he would only see in films because of how dramatic it was, especially in the wrestling contest. And I don't know about you guys, but Rowan felt like Wheeler Yuta was going to win. I honestly can't see an occasion where Orange Cassidy is going to lose anytime soon. But apparently Rowan is convinced enough that Wheeler Yuta could actually have been a double champion after this match. So what did you guys think coming out of this All-Atlantic Championship match? Let's start with you, Emile. Did you get to catch this one?
Yes, I did. And it was the opener of Dynamite. So we all know Dynamite openers are always going to be great. And this one was also great. There's a statement ni Rowan about the All-Atlantic Championship. Honestly, what's the purpose of the championship? Like,
no, well, the purpose was to travel with it. It was supposed to be defended in different countries, the UK, Japan, pero syempre, they can't always send Orange Cassidy to it. They did that with previous champions, yung mga like Six and Pac, who have a reason to go to UK, diba? So a whole lot of those things. So like many things, the original purpose has fallen by the wayside, but it kind of stands in as another TV championship. So I don't hate it that much.
You know, like when I was thinking about it, this looks like another TNT title, and this actually gets defended more than a TNT title recently. So, but yeah, the match itself was great, and I'm glad they got back to this to this story because they touched on it last year nung bago pa lang si Yuta sa Combat Club. But I guess because they're both baby faces, na a feud wouldn't work at that point. But now that we talked about this on the audio only on the last episode, it seems like the Blackpool Combat Club are leaning towards the heel side now. They might go back to this storyline with Yuta being a former member of the Best Friends, and how in Yuta's mind na parang initsapera lang siya ng Best Friends, but in reality they were just there to be his friend, not to be his mentor. So I really want them to expound on this more rather than this just being like one match, a one-off. So, but in terms of this match was a great opener to Dynamite.
You remember that Trent really was being a dick to him.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying about that.
Too.
Okay,
he wasn't openly admitted to bullying Yuta.
He wasn't lying about that. So that's why he justified just sa pagiging bitter niya. I'm glad that you mentioned about the All-Atlantic Championship being kind of a TV title now, because I actually liked Orange Cassidy's spot on Rampage where he would defend it every week. That was a nice thing because even though the championship kind of feels like a C championship, at least Rampage always had a title match. So I kind of wish this match was on Rampage. I wish a lot of matches were on Rampage, but this week's episode was pretty good as well. But anyway, yes. To Rowan's point about Yuta looking like he was going to win, I think Orange Cassidy's really, really good at that, making people believe that the opponent has a chance against him. He's like Roman Reigns in that regard. He's so good at making people just believe And that's the beauty of an Orange Cassidy title match. Orange Cassidy match. Even I don't think I've ever seen a bad Orange Cassidy match in AEW so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, because he is so good at what he does. At the standpoint, I knew that Yuta wasn't going to win, but the whole point of the thing is a journey and not the destination. So, really good stuff. That's all I can say. I'm going back to my point na sana it was on Rampage.
Yeah. Yung sinabi mo kanina, Ro, na I don't think there isn't a bad Orange Cassidy match reminds me of one of the things you told me about comedy wrestlers and how at their heart, you have to be a good wrestler first before you can be a good comedy wrestler. And I think Orange Cassidy is one of the best examples of that.
I wouldn't say good wrestler. I just think you need to nail your basics and not rely on comedy as a crutch to hide any weaknesses, if you will. Like, not everyone can be a good wrestler, but people can be a solid wrestler, a basic, fundamentally solid wrestler. I guess that makes people good. I think by some metric it does, but you don't have to be the best. Or you don't have to be as great as Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's the first half of our picks of the week. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll swing over to WWE for Rose as well as Mines, which I'll be sharing with Chino. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. And we're back with the second half of our picks of the week. Let's go over to WWE, and let's start with Rose pick.
I haven't picked something from Raw in a while. So last week, Raw had a main event. Edge accepted the open challenge of one Austin Theory no Elimination Chamber press conference. So it was them for the United States Championship. It goes to show how well Raw is doing when it comes to their roster depth. Like you can have this kind of match and it doesn't feel super weird. It doesn't feel forced or anything. Like, okay, Edge accepted the open challenge. This is nice. We're getting something different for a change, diba? And it was so good. You really kind of miss the way Edge and by extension Christian work. You know how matches nowadays may konting pause, may konting I don't know. It's just not as fluid as the way Edge and Christian wrestle. Like I don't know if you guys noticed this, but he wrestles in a way na there's very little pauses. Parang the action is always going and going. He finds a way to be more mobile than he seems to be. I mean, he's what? In his 50s, diba?
Di ba? 49 pa lang si Edge.
49, almost his 50s. And you would expect, like, from watching Chris Jericho, even, like, he would be slowed down and all. But Edge is still as limber as ever. And the way he wrestles accentuates that. He's deceptively limber. And it's just so fun to watch. It's so refreshing.
Dito yung sinasabi na no wasted motions on commentary, diba? That's not what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's not what I'm referring to. Because you can still, stop and go and still have no wasted motion. This one is just really continuous motion. Like, some of it can be wasted, but it's just really going and going. Meron talagang spots na suabe, if you've noticed it in this match. So it's just the way Edge is wrestled. I noticed this in many of his matches, like in a way that I haven't really noticed before. And it looks good. It came off a lot better than his pay-per-view matches, I think, with the exception of, I guess, the one versus Randy Orton where they went 60 minutes. This one, because it's TV, there's a little less time to go. You got to do as much as you can in as short a time as possible. So it really worked out. And like Rowan back in Yuta, Orange Cassidy, they really did some interesting cardiac drama. Na I knew he wasn't going to win, syempre, kasi there's still a Judgment Day thing going on, and Theory is moving on to bigger and better things. But they really also made us believe, like the audience, the live audience at least, really bought into everything. And I think that was the only time the Ottawa audience came alive the entire episode of Raw. And to think that was the very end of 3.5 hours of wrestling. And that's usually the deadest point on the show. So kudos to Edge. I don't know if it was because of his hometown aura, if you will, but sobrang galing. And I want to invite everyone, especially if you are training to be a wrestler, if you're a wrestler in of all experience levels, even. Just watch the thing and see how he moves. It's just so good.
I also want to invite Edge to unblock Ro para happy na si Ro.
Yes. I mean, no, I didn't even say this to get him to unblock me. It was just so good.
Yeah. I'm wondering if yung pagka-refreshing nitong match ni Edge is because of the fact that it wasn't against a Judgment Day member. Kasi for me, that's what it was eh. I love Edge, man. We all know this, but like, medyo nasawa na rin ako with all of his face-offs with Finn and Damien Priest and Dominic. Na to see him go up against a different guy in Austin Theory was exactly what I needed to just get really into this match. So, ikaw, Emile, did you feel that? Na parang, oh nga, no, it's Edge facing someone who's not part of the Judgment Day.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while. No? Every Edge match since like last year was always against either Finn or Damien Priest or Dominic. So, it's a refreshing take, and I believe this is for me. This is because I didn't really see Edge his first run, right? So this is for me the best match I've seen from Edge like ever. So yeah, because di ko naman nakita yung
Yeah.
Yung first run niya.
Go watch the Brock Lesnar match that he had in 2002 or 2003.
Or the Eddie Guerrero match from 2000.
I heard that one. Yeah.
You'll see that it's his work is much of the same. His mobility is much of the same.
Yeah, and that's the thing, no? His style of wrestling, hindi pa rin nagbabago eh. Like, you look at guys his age or yung mga kabatch niya, like guys like Jericho. Jericho throughout the years has changed his style so much. But with Edge, and also, I guess to the same extent, Christian, they have been consistently the same wrestler that they were since they became like stars in the wrestling industry. And it's refreshing to see this style in the modern age where everyone it's all about the spots, all about getting to this spot to this spot. So napakaganda tingnan sa mata. And yeah, I have nothing else more to say. It's the best match I've seen from Edge like all time. Ganun ko siya ka-love yung match on Raw.
To add lang real quick, it was also a good thing that he was facing Austin Theory because Theory is not his size. Theory is shorter than him, but he is also really, really mobile. So he can do everything that Edge asked him to do. I know that he scripted everything because it was clear that they were getting to from one spot to the next. If you know how to call it in the ring, you'll know how that looks like. So it wasn't that. So Theory was in there, was present for all the spots, and he executed well.
Mm-hmm. I just want to add, I do hope this leads to Austin Theory having open challenges, not just this one, but in maybe in the lead up to WrestleMania. If he's gonna face Cena, might as well copy one of Cena's most iconic eras, which was the US Open challenges. And because Austin Theory, people don't give him much credit for actually being a decent wrestler.
Yeah.
He's not the best, but he gets the job done. And he's the US champion for a reason. Like, they entrust him to always have a good to great TV matches every week. And I hope people can give him more respect as time goes by.
Yeah, I agree about that. Austin Theory, to me, is one of those complete package wrestlers where he has the look, he has the skill, he has the character, and he can talk. So he has everything naman. And that's the Edge and Austin Theory Love Fest as we give their match our pick of the week stamp of approval here on the podcast. We're going to close things out with a pick of the week that Chino and I are going to share for this week, and that was Sami Zayn's Elimination Chamber vlog. And for us here in the Philippines, diba, nawala na tayo ng WWE Network, so we can't watch WWE 24 and Untold and 365 and all the good stuff on the network like we used to be able to. So to have this be up on YouTube for free for everybody was such a treat. And I loved how we got an all-access pass basically into Sami Zayn's weekend. Sami Zayn himself said on Twitter na he's very private about his personal life. It's the first time we got to meet his wife on camera, his son. I didn't know he had a son. I just assumed he had a kid. I didn't know how old or how young this kid was. Even the bit where Sami would talk to his son in, I think, Arabic, diba? Yung language na ginagamit nila.
I was trying to decipher it. It didn't sound French, so it had to be Arabic.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. Ang ganda rin nung how nagbo-blur yung lines of Sami Zayn, the human being, and Sami Zayn, the professional wrestler. Because it was such a huge moment because the meta narrative heading into Elimination Chamber was equally compelling as the in-ring narrative that WWE was trying to tell. So that was really good. And ang daming good quotes from everybody who was interviewed for it, yung mga family members ni Sami, yung mga childhood friends niya. There was this one person, I think he was an independent wrestler that Sami came up with when El Generico was going up through the ranks. Nasabi niya na parang, it's not just a right place, right time kind of guy. He was the right person for that to happen to. And it really encapsulated how beautiful this moment was. Now, even after having watched this vlog, after already going through Elimination Chamber and the heartbreak, parang na-appreciate mo siya. It's one of those few times where you can say na, don't be sad because it ended, be happy because it happened, or whatever the cliche is, diba? It's probably the same type of gratification that you'd get when you watch your SDE at the end of your wedding or some shit. So parang, those were the emotions going through my head when I was watching this Elimination Chamber vlog. And it was a great way to really get us to feel more for this person. Not just the wrestler, for this person whose journey we're all so heavily invested in.
Yeah. I like these type of things. And it's good that they released it on YouTube instead of putting it in a 24 or... yung Chronicle or whichever of the million docuseries that they have on the network. I actually wish that this was the kind of content that they played on the show, on SmackDown, on Raw. Kasi this is the exact kind of hype that you need for your wrestlers, especially not just for the big stars, but also for anyone that you're trying to push, really. Kasi this is how you flesh out the character. Not even the character, but the person. But if you wanted to, the character then. So I really appreciated this. It was really good. It was a nice look into Sami Zayn, the person. And by extension, I guess now, Sami Zayn, the character. And I've always wanted yung HBO specials, the ones they play before the boxing shows, for the boxing cards. I've always wanted that for WWE because the way they do it is just so, so good. And I need something like that for a star that you want people to like. Because the way we do it now, not even just WWE, but a lot of other wrestling promotions, they don't really think of this because it's a lot of work. But I think the work pays off, especially when you have a lot of interesting material. It's really good. I liked everything about it. I liked the vice principal, who was actually the first match Sami had.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Saktong-sakto. I wish there was more of this for Sami and for everyone else. I don't know when else they would do for Sami. Maybe if they did a rematch with Roman or Cody, this could be a thing that they do. But at this point, I also don't think you need it for Sami anymore because he already has the audience's heart. So Cody, I guess, I'll be fine with a Cody like this or Jay.
Oh, interview na si Xavier Woods, diba? They wrestled each other in the amateur ranks in high school.
Yeah. So
dig into that history.
I like docuseries. I like documentary content and documentary vignettes.
Yeah, same here. Ikaw, Emile, any feelings about the Elimination Chamber vlog?
Before Elimination Chamber, I didn't even know na pamiyado na para si Sami Zayn.
Ayun, kasi he said that he tried to keep everything private. I knew he had a wife. I wasn't sure that he had a kid until Elimination Chamber, but he was really private about that.
Yeah, because I've seen him in a lot of documentaries, yung mga shoot documentaries, like the one with KO, and they only mention KO only KO has a family, not Sami. So I was shocked that he had his own family. But and then tama yung sinabi mo, Stan, no, na the feeling that I felt after watching the vlog is I'm just glad it happened for Sami. Like now looking back at it, I'm okay if Sami doesn't get the WrestleMania moment because
don't say that, dude. What the hell?
No, not. Oh, sorry.
He's not manifesting. He's just saying that he'll be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm I'm okay if he doesn't get the championship, the World Championship match that we all wanted because he already got his moment in front of his hometown, in front of his friends. Like, he got to see so many people admire him and cheer him so much. So, sino pa ba yung ibang wrestlers na naka-experience ng ganong treatment? Like, in their hometown, like, all the people
Technically,
really
Drew had something similar. Pero iba the Sami moment was really something on a different level.
Drew did a thing, diba? He did the docu thing as well. I think that was before the Brock match. Or was it before Clash?
No, it was for Clash. Kasi nasa sila, UK sila.
Yeah. Basta yung shoot niya sa Scotland, diba? So, there was that. I actually wanted it before the match, so, but syempre, they shot the content on the day, so yun, wala tayong choice then.
Yeah, mahirap talaga mag pre-prod then mag-produce ng ganitong type of content. Sorry, Emile, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just glad he got his moment, and I am glad that he knows how much the fans are rooting for him, are behind him, always gonna support him, no matter what. No matter if he main events Mania or he does something else at Mania or anything beyond that, he already has the fans. He already got the audience to root behind him. So this is like that feeling you get after watching Avengers, and even though Iron Man dies, you still get that happy feeling that at least you watch that movie and you witness that moment happen.
Iron Man dies?
To watch Iron Man die.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking it there, Emile. One last thing about yung Elimination Chamber vlog. This is the type of content that I wanted to see come out of PWR Homecoming. Kasi about Ro, you and I, we worked on that event, and there were conversations that we would kind of do something like this, and then when we all realized just how short-handed we were for the entire thing, na parang okay, it's sobrang impossible na to. But like, for the local scene to just get people to be invested in our talents' lives and careers and their own narratives and stuff, like, this is something I would have wanted sana for PWR at the time. So yun, I just hope na if not this generation, then the next generation takes notes of how the local scene could be uplifted by something like this.
That should have been a media partnership, actually. It shouldn't have been from us, but, it is what it is.
Them's the breaks. So there, those are our picks of the week. Just a quick recap. Emile's was Kiyomiya versus Okada from Noah's Keiji Muto Grand Final Last Love. Rowan's was Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta from Dynamite. Rose was Edge versus Austin Theory from Raw last week. And for me and Chino, it's Sami Zayn's Elimination Chamber vlog. Now, we know that so much has happened and a lot of good wrestling is out there, good wrestling content as well. So if you want to add to the pick of the week conversation and even send some our way to watch, you know where to find us. It is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and Twitter. For Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify, it's at Wrestling Podcast. You can hit us up individually. It's at EML_Meister, at Rose War, at Chino Supersized, and at Monday Night Rowan. We're going to catch you this Thursday for our live stream. As always, we're going to be doing another predictions episode because there's a huge pay-per-view on the weekend. It's Revolution. So I'm not going to be part of it. It'll be Ro and Emile and maybe a guest host if you guys can find one for the Revolution live stream, which is going to be live on YouTube and on Facebook at 7 p.m. on Thursday. And of course, after that, we're going to catch you again on the next Pick of the Week episode on Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much to our babyface producers, especially to Joshua, who does a lot of the legwork behind the scenes. And thank you to every listener, streamer, subscriber, follower, and patron for all of the support and all of the love that you show us here on the Wrestling Podcast. On behalf of Ro Moran and Emile ASH, my name is Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy, and let's all be nice. Don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.